Welcome back to episode 2 of We're Building a Boat, and this is Tony Singing Eagle of SHEcan2 Media filling in for Terri Harris on the voice-over narration part for this episode. I have to say right off the bat, though, that Terri does so much better at this sort of thing. She's naturally an in front of the camera, in front of the microphone person, whereas I'm just an old studio production rat. I'm much more comfortable behind the camera. In fact, you will never ever see me on camera. But anyway, so today's what we see going on here, this is actually still part of the first day on the demolition part, tearing the old boat apart. In part 1 you saw them doing the frame, and that took quite a bit of time, but I actually think this part took longer because the floor or the deck was screwed down really well to this metal frame, and so there's no way to unscrew it after all these years, so you have to just get in there and tear the thing apart. So you see them using these leverage devices and things. There you can see the metal frame that they're pulling it down to, which they were still able to use. They just had to go back and saw off or lob off all of the existing screws after they pulled the wood planks up. You can see, though, it's very difficult. You just have to tear the thing and literally rip it apart. So that once all of that is done, there you can see more of the metal frame that they're going to build the new floor on. And this is now the second day. After I got there, they had actually done quite a bit of work and laying out the new floor. It was really quite nice. It was incredible to see, you know, the difference between the two, and of course everything is made to measure. It's cut perfectly so that it looks like it was you know, meant to be that way. Here you can see that they added 2x4s in between each of the metal studs, and that's just to give it more stability, so that when you screw the planks down, you've got more, you know, it's a closer area. So that it's going to be much more stable for the kids to walk and play on. There you can see, of course, the wood that was used, and of course the builder's tools of the trade. So then after it's all laid out, they have to screw it down. There you see Steve and Dan actually screwing the wood planks in. You can see it wobbling there, so that if you didn't have that piece of wood in the middle, it could bow a little bit, or, you know, bend. Now, continuing on that day, you see them beginning to do the framing, and it's just like a house, really. I mean, it's the same principle exactly, so that the frame has to be really just, you know, spot on, perfect, so that by the time you start laying on the walls of the frame, that it's got something to adhere to. And in fact, I thought they were going to use plywood or something, and I got a bit of a shock when I realized that Steve was actually using 2x4s to build the wall itself, which means that boat structure is going to be extremely sturdy for those kids to play on. And let's face it, kids playing need something very sturdy, A, because you don't want them to get hurt, and B, because they might tear it apart. And this one, you'd have to be, you know, a giant gorilla to tear this boat apart once they built it. But anyway, here you see the boat really beginning to take shape. And so when we come back tomorrow, we will continue with the episode 3 of We're Building a Boat. See you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.